we need to cover loops. So I'll just create one class. In class, I'm going to give com dot loops. Okay. And here, first we will go ahead with the while loop. For the while loop, imagine I is equal to 10. Okay. And while is a pre-check, means first it will check whether I is less than, let us say I'm going to give 15. If this condition is true, only then it will go inside and do the part which is within this curly brace. So here probably I'll write this out I. Okay. If I write only so much, it will give you infinite loop error because I is never incrementing. I is equal to 10. 10 less than 15 is true. It'll come inside print I. I never changed. Then it goes back. 10 less than 15 is again true. So it keeps on printing I. If you want to notice, see this. It is going on printing 10. What we should do first of is we have to increment the I or decrement. In this case, if you decrement also, it is going to give you infinite loop because 10, 9, 7, 6, 5, all those things are less than 10 itself. So if I give I plus plus, it will print 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Also, it is going to print. Then when it becomes 15, 15 less than 15 is false. So you're going to come out. Okay. Now, if I have to come out of the loop for a specific condition, let us say once I is equal to, if I equals to interrupt, okay, I want to come out of the loop. To come out of the loop, we use a break statement. Now this interrupt is there, right? I'm going to take it here. Now what I'll do, I'm going to take the interrupt from some kind of scanner statement. Once you give enter the interrupt, ob dot next int, okay. Now imagine when will it come out of the loop if the interrupt and I value are the same. So when I run this, if I give interrupt as 20, 20 will never be equal to any item here because I started with 10. 10 is less than 15. 10 and 20 are not equal. Next 11 and 20 are not equal. 12, 20 are not equal. So on up to 14, 20 are not equal. So it will print all 10 to 14, whatever it had. No, it is going to print and there is no interruption here. But if I give the interrupt as 13, I give interrupt as 13. What happens? When I will be equal to 13 itself, you are coming out of the loop. So 14 will never get printed, even though this whole loop is running from I is equal to um, 10, which is here, to 15. But just in case if you're going to give an interrupt, which is in between that one, like if I give 20, okay, and I'll run this, and I give interrupt value as 16. So what will happen? It will run only from 10 to 16. But if I give the interrupt value as 88, 88 will never match those values. So all your loop values will get executed without entering the this statement because I value and then the interrupt value are never seen. Okay. But what happens if I give continue? Okay. What happens if I give continue? In this case, what happens is when you give continue, anything below continue will be skipped. But in our problem, there is one issue here. If I give I is less than 20, okay, and I'm going to give interrupt as 15. Now what happens is it went into an infinite loop if you observe. Why? Because this one, see here, it totally printed, initially it printed 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. After 15, when you give continue, this I plus plus is below. So what happens is it will never reach this portion at all. So when you skip this entire part, when I is equal to 15, 15 less than 20 is true, 15 is equal to 15, then again it will go on skipping. Okay. For that, before skipping, I can give I plus plus. Okay, now you see what happens. When you run this, if I give 16, if you notice 15, 16, there is no issue at all in this case. It never skipped. So what I'll do small change here. This one, I'm going to keep it below. Okay, because first it will check if it is interrupt, then it is going to skip the printing part and then it is going to come to the next iteration. So now when you run this, if I give interrupt as 15, see, after 14, it did 16. It didn't print 15. Why? Because till 13 you till 14 you printed. Okay, after printing 14, I became 15. 15 less than 20 is true. 15 is equal to 15 is also true. When it is true, I made I value as 16 and I continued. That means it didn't print that item, it skipped. Then 16 less than 20 is true, 16 is equal to 15 is false. So 16 gets printed and then it will continue. This is what continue does. Okay. Now, if you have to go to do while loop, same thing what we wrote here. If I have to do it with the do while loop, okay, I'll remove this part. In do while loop, what will happen? In while loop, if the condition is false, it will never go inside the loop itself. But in do while loop, minimum number of execution cycle is 1. I'll show you how. Well, I is less than 15 and Q. Okay. Here in loop 1, I value was 10. 10 is less than 20. It is true. That's why you came inside. Imagine I value was 40. Then if you try to run this, it will ask me an interrupt 55 and nothing will be printed because 40 less than 20 is false. It will never go inside. It will only go inside whenever you have what? These two, I'll just skip it. Okay, we'll run this now. See, from 10 to 20, it is going to get printed. What if I kept it as 50? 50 less than 20 is false. So nothing gets printed. It will not go inside itself. In do while loop, what will happen? I'm keeping it as 10 right now. Okay, and I'm running this. Oh, I'll comment this for a while. Okay, then it is printing 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, just in case if I keep it as 40, now this 40 is less than 15 is checked in this line number 18, it is going to check. But before that, it will print 40, I will become 41, and then nothing will get printed. So 40 is printed, but after that, nothing is getting printed. So do while loop, whether this condition is true or false, minimum number of times this loop will be executed is once. In while loop, minimum number of times it will get executed is 0. Even for loop, it is 0. Okay. Now, in this case, here it is not needed, so I'm going to remove it off. In do while loop, all you do is first you execute and then you check the statement. Now, in case if I keep it as, let us say 10, then normally it will execute all the way from 10 to 14. Okay, this is your do while loop. Now, the same type, I'm going to use for loop. So here, for loop, what I'll do, for I equal to 10, I less than 20, I plus plus. This is not necessary. Okay. And here I'm just going to keep it as for I is equal to 0, 10, I less than 20, I plus plus. When you run this, it is going on printing 10, 11, 12, so on up to 19. Okay. This is in case if I give here I is equal to 40. If I give I is equal to 40, what happens? It will never get printed. Anything will not get printed because first it will initialize I equal to 40. Is 40 less than 20? No, it is false. So it will not get printed. It will come out of the for loop. Okay. To check whether it came out of for loop or no, you just write one sys out here. Just write one dash. Okay. Run this. See, here it came out of the for loop, it printed this. I have not put a curly brace here. No, why? Because only one line had to be executed if the for loop. For the for loop, there is only one line to execute. If there are multiple lines, then you're going to give the curly brace. So when that happens, imagine that we had this scenario. The interrupt scenario. Okay. So I'm going to keep it here. Hmm. And in this case, what I'm going to do, if I equal to 20, no, if I equal to 15, I want to give continue. Otherwise, print. However, the increment part is taken care by the for loop, so I need not worry. I'll keep it here as 10. So what happens? 15 will be skipped. If you run this, oh, I've taken interrupt, is it? 1 minute. If I run this, I'll take I interrupt as 15. So what happens? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 is not printed because when I will be equal to 15, it skips and it automatically increments because in for loop, you do not increment it inside the loop. Already that structure takes care of it. So it has already been incremented and it goes on continuing this one. Okay.